Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
It's the beginning of another week. Good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from our studios here at the Sawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're live as well on 3FM 92.7. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, 3 of 7 nominees to the Supreme Court take their turn before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. We have highlights for you and some reactions as well. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. And a number of you have been talking about things are playing out. Stay with us. We're getting to it shortly. Wife of the former Finance Minister, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, says her husband will need about 3 months to recover after he successfully underwent a cancer surgery. How does this new information influence the processes that the OSP and the other investigative bodies have set in motion to bring him back to Ghana? Stay with us. Also, the national chair of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ntim, has taken a temporary break from official duty. This certainly shouldn't have been an issue. But then again, there's a statement from the family indicating that he's not in good health. But they assert that there is a meeting that, according to the family, the executives of the New Patriotic Party want to bundle him in his incapacitated case or state to that said meeting. We'll find out exactly what the issues are in this said letter, so stay with us. As always, you are an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. On Ghana Tonight, on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
More than 65,000 civil servants across the country are set to withdraw their services in the next 14 days. According to the Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampo-Addo, government has failed to implement their revised conditions of service and a new salary structure. Meanwhile, CLOGSAG has also instructed 3,000 staff of the Births and Deaths Registry to stay at home, citing verbal abuse allegedly directed at them by the registrar, Samuel Adumbuche.
Now we have a situation, even media people are calling us, CLOGSAG executives, what are you doing about the MOU that you signed with government? When is it going to be implemented? So this is a situation we find ourselves. It's not our fault. And let me repeat, we are not negotiating. We've already negotiated. We've already justified why we have to have our own salary structure.
Wife of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says her husband has undergone a successful robotic-assisted radical prostatectomy to deal with prostate cancer. A release issued and signed by Angela Ofori-Atta regretted the Office of the Special Prosecutor's timing to issue a red alert on her husband, adding the process has been difficult, but doctors are pleased with the procedure. She stated Kenneth has always been resilient and is bearing up well and focused on doing whatever he can to be restored to good health. The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has directed the Ghana Education Service to launch an immediate investigation into an incident where a BEC candidate was prevented from writing the exam due to late arrival. Speaking during a visit to the Garrison School BEC Center in Accra, Haruna Idrisu expressed deep concern over the matter and called on the Director General of the GES to act swiftly to ensure justice.
There is a student who was involved in an accident, and when he arrived late, was prevented from undertaking the exams. So it will be a double tragedy for him. He suffered emotional trouble and trauma, and also associated barring from the examination. The Director General of GES and his men are investigating it, and appropriate remedial action will be taken to allow him progress.
Supreme Court nominee Sir Dennis Dominic Ejay says Ghana's presidential line of succession must remain strictly limited to the President, Vice President and Speaker of Parliament, explicitly excluding the Chief Justice. Speaking during his vetting before the Appointments Committee of Parliament on Monday, June 16, he argued the Constitution was deliberately designed to cap the legitimacy of succession and cautioned that extending succession to the Chief Justice could risk legal and political instability in times of crisis.
It could be a bad practice, because why do you involve a judge or Chief Justice whose role is resolution of dispute, which is different from the role of the executive? If it extends to Parliament, there's nothing wrong, because they are politicians, they were voted for. But where the Chief Justice, you are supposed to be independent, impartial, and you are to go and perform executive function, it will violate every principle of rule of law.
A Supreme Court judge nominee, Justice Senyo Jamefe, has said that he will support the setting up of public tribunals which existed in the past. According to him, with the tribunals in place, it will allow the traditional courts to focus more on civil cases, thereby ensuring faster justice delivery. He was responding to questions when he appeared before the Appointments Committee of Parliament to be vetted.
We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that the qualification of the tribunal chairman is the same as the High Court judge. And then more criminal cases will go to the tribunals because they wouldn't do civil. So it gives more chance to the mainstream court to have more time for civil cases. So I am always for the tribunal. We need more of them, especially the lower tribunals. Justice emanates from the people. Why don't we give them courts manned by the people from whom justice emanates? So I am always for the tribunal.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. It's been a busy day for the Appointments Committee of Parliament, and rightly so, because there are 3 of 7 nominees. That's coming up next year on Ghana Tonight. 3 of the 7 nominees to the Supreme Court took their turn earlier today before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. Now, a number of reactions and responses got a lot of people talking, and a number of issues regarding the timelines for criminal cases and other related matters. You will recall that over the weekend on Key Point, there was a suggestion that some persons who have been cited in cases by the Attorney General, some bordering on criminal nature, might want to push the limit and have these criminal cases run for the longest possible time, hoping that when there's a change in administration, they're going to be left off the hook. Well, these are some of the matters that came up before the Appointments Committee today. That vetting process ended just a little over an hour ago. some of the nominees stayed for at least 4 hours. In fact, there was none of them that stayed below 3 hours from our own tracking. They all went beyond 3 hours. Now, let's recall the dying moments of this long period of the vetting today. Alexander Penyomaking was not too happy about how some things played out. The First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, was clear in his words about applying the law as it is, but the Majority Chief Whip, Nelson Roxon Dafiamekwa, was not too happy that the Minority Leader sought to drag the process by giving commentary to a question that the Honorable Rickett Hagan asked just before the vetting ended. Take a look.
For the purposes of what the Vice Chair has just said, and you defer to him because he chairs the GRA board. And sitting here, I heard him make certain calls to validate. Mr. Chair, with respect, I know that when you nominate a consultant to discharge those duties on your behalf, it is a mandate given to an independent tax consultant. That is different from an officer in your establishment who you assign to prepare your document for tax purposes.
Chairman, with all due respect,
always
what
bring
the Minority Leader is
for
doing
you
is most
to sign.
unfair.
It's
most
always
unfair. You can't
you
run
see-
your own commentary.
You see,
What you are doing is against the protocol. We are done. You are running commentary.
Honorable Roxon Nelson Eche Dafamako, you can't just put on a microphone and begin to talk. So, therefore, you are completely out of order.
All I am saying, I in filing my tax obligations in the office would have to sign. When, as a parliamentarian, we are filing, we go there. When the account is done, down there, the office there, they bring it to us to sign. And I'm saying,
Honorable Minority Leader, and in conclusion, please, in conclusion. Please conclude. Are you done? Well, honorable members.
Chairman.
That's why I'm asking you whether you are done.
Chairman, you see, Chairman, if you continue to encourage these things.
Those were the dying moments of this long day of vetting, and clearly Nelson Roxon Dafemekwa could not hold back that feeling of frustration about the period being prolonged because of what he described as commentary from the Minority Leader. But some of the issues that came up earlier today, Justice Senyor Jamepe, who is a Supreme Court nominee, also proposed the introduction of fixed timelines for the completion of court cases in Ghana, especially with criminal cases, for instance, as part of the efforts to enhance the efficiency of the delivery of justice in a timeous manner in this country. Appearing before the Appointments Committee of Parliament, vetting earlier today, Justice Jamepe stressed the need for reforms that prioritize both infrastructure and resource development, making the proposal that criminal cases should be able to take at least 3 months to be completed and not the years that we have seen over the period. Take a look.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some few minutes ago, I said we have to look at the tools we use. We have to go high technology now, AI. One of our main constraints is the recording process, writing longhand, and then the processes by themselves. A lot of people who don't know this always say cases delay unnecessarily. Yes, sometimes it does, but then the procedures took, we have to see to it that we shorten the procedures and the time limits. Then secondly, I talk about the tools. If we can go AI, said that recordings are done swiftly, so that by the end of the day, whatever everybody says in court is recorded by the machine, and at the end of the day, it's transcribed, and you can just sign. It makes it faster. And then number two, a lot of adjournments. That one depends on the courts. A lot of lawyers come, I'm sick, I'm that, sending letters and blah, blah. We have to curtail those things as well to make sure that cases go on. And then I said something earlier that there should be time limits. I think the rules of court should set time limits. That no criminal case should go beyond 3 months. No civil case should go beyond a certain period of time. Then we all know we are constrained to finish within that time. These are the things we have to do to be able to quicken cases, to fasten the delivery of justice. And then more courts. If we have more courts, then the workload is lessened. One court wouldn't have plenty cases if there are other courts around. So, Madam, these are some of the things we have to do to be able to deliver justice in good time. In good time. Thank you.
We're going to return to this, but there's an issue that a number of you have also been talking about, at least over the past 3 hours, that this letter got the public attention. That's coming up next here on Ghana Tonight. And the wife of the former finance minister, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, is saying her husband will need about 3 months to recover after he successfully underwent a cancer surgery. Now, how does this new information influence the processes that the special prosecutor and other investigative bodies have set in motion to bring him back to Ghana? That's the question that we're asking tonight. What we do know already is that Kenneth Ofori-Atta, according to the letter from the Mayo Clinic, which we're going to refer and recall shortly, that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, was scheduled for a surgical operation. We understand that has been done as of Friday, but the wife of the former finance minister, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, is saying her husband has undergone the said surgery successfully with robotic assistance and the radical prostatectomy to deal with prostate cancer. As we do know earlier, that communication of Kenneth Ofori-Atta being diagnosed with prostate cancer was made known by the special prosecutor, and then also a letter from the Mayo Clinic where we understand he is receiving medical treatment. What we're learning further is how long he's going to take to recover and how that influences this entire investigation, because it's not just about the special prosecutor anymore. Last week we got to know that the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, is interested in Kenneth Ofori-Atta's physical presence, and then also the National Intelligence Bureau. Dennis Poberi Wadam Esquire has been studying the detail of this latest report and the update from the wife of Kenneth Ofori-Atta. Is joining me in the studio right now. It's good to have you, as always.
Always a pleasure, Alfred.
What do we know? What's the latest?
Well, so we are getting a letter. It looks familiar because in the previous weeks we have received a letter on the same letterhead, except that this time around the only distinguishing feature is that even though it's on the letterhead of the family of Kenneth Ofori-Atta, this time around it has an identified signatory on it. So the wife is the one who signs off this particular letter, giving an update on the health status of the husband.
Because previously we had issues that the first one didn't have a signatory.
Yes, it was just signed by the family of Kenneth Ofori-Atta. There was no identified individual who signed off that particular letter. But what we have today now, you see signed by Professor Mrs. Angela Ofori-Atta, wife. And this letter basically gives updates as to the surgery that the former finance minister had said that he was going to undertake on the 13th of June, for which reason he was unable to honor the invitation of the OSP on 2nd June. We do also know that the failure of that meeting is one of the things that triggered the OSP to initiate processes for extradition and also put him on the Interpol Red Notice and all that. But what we do find in this letter and subsequent conversations to this letter is the fact that, yes, the surgery was successful, and if you'd indulge me, let me just read it in her own words. That Ken Ofori-Atta undergoes successful cancer surgery. That's the heading for the benefit of those on radio.
Yeah.
My husband, Ken Ofori-Atta, the former finance minister, has undergone a scheduled robotic assistant radical prostatectomy. This was to deal with prostate cancer, and it was done at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota on Friday, June 13th. The procedure took 4+ hours. The doctors are pleased with how the procedure went and will now place him on a postoperative regime. Kenneth has always been resilient, but this has been very difficult, with the OSP choosing the period just before his surgery to declare a red alert on him. Kenneth is bearing up well and focused on doing whatever he can to be restored to good health. Our family is truly grateful for the support and prayers of many people and pastors. This signed by Professor Mrs. Angela Ofori-Atta, wife of the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. The only reference made to the OSP is to the fact that the timing that the OSP put him back on the Interpol Red Notice to declare him wanted is a cause of worry. Aside that, this basically is an update on the health status of the former finance minister. What we do not know is if this information has been made available to the OSP, because what we have here is a statement to the public. This is a public statement.
Absolutely.
And that is very important because if you recall, there was a letter from the Mayo Clinic. This letter was supposed to form part of the documents that were sent to the OSP to inform the OSP of his unavailability on 2nd June.
Yeah.
Would later find out that the OSP did not receive this letter, at least.
At the time?
At the time. The OSP had said...
Of the press conference?
Yes, they had not received this particular letter, even though this letter was made public.
Yeah.
And what was this letter saying? This letter was to whoever it would concern, perhaps including the OSP. And this letter was that I am writing to inform you that Mr. Ofori-Atta has undergone an MR-guided biopsy and has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. A surgical intervention has been deemed necessary after the testing and MRI and biopsy procedures in March 2025. As I indicated in my February letter, this surgical procedure has been scheduled for June 13 with Dr. Parat Shah of the Department of Urology. See attached letter. It is hoped that a closer date may open up. So this was the letter informing the OSP I am unavailable due to a scheduled surgery, and that this procedure, which is now informing the decision to have the surgery on Friday, June 13, was done March 25. So if you listen to the OSP has concerns that if as far back as March 2025, you knew that you were going to have a surgery on a later date, why did you have to wait until late May for you to inform the OSP, knowing that you were going to have a date with the OSP early June?
That's right.
So those are basically the matters. But what we are learning now, even beyond this particular letter, the wife has been speaking, and I'll show you excerpts of what she's been saying as regards when, hopefully, the former finance minister will be available. But remember, in all of this, the former finance minister has been proposing a video conference with the OSP that due to my circumstance, I will be available on video. However, the OSP insists on his physical presence. We also learned along the lines, not only the OSP who is looking for the former finance minister, IOCO is also looking for him in respect of some separate matters. But this is what we are learning from the wife beyond the letter that has been written. That as regards when he likely will be available, this is what she says, in parts. Then there would be a period of about 3 months when there's observation going to happen. Then hopefully after 3 months, the recovery will be complete. And that's if all goes well. She's simply saying, other things being equal, we are looking at the next 3 months for recovery to be complete.
So after this moment that we're getting to know that he has successfully gone through the surgery on Friday,
yes,
he is going to go through a period of recovery.
Recovery, yes.
And that's going to take 3 months.
3 months.
And that's if all goes well.
Precisely so.
So there's a conditional clause to the timeline for his recovery.
Precisely so.
That if all goes well, then it's 3 months, but it could be more.
Yes. But this is not even a confirmation that after 3 months, if the recovery is complete, I'll be available. Mind you, this is the wife who is speaking. It's neither Ken Ofori-Atta himself or his lawyers who he has instructed to have engagements with the OSP. In any case...
Or his doctors. Because really, it's not within the capacity of the wife to determine how long the recovery is going to be.
Precisely so.
We should be hearing that from the doctors.
And when you listen to the wife, she's very clear who she's speaking to. She makes the point that she's not speaking to the OSP, she's speaking to Ghanaians. And that's what informs the public statement that has been issued. So, I mean, this is what we have by way of what the wife has been saying in respect of this particular matter.
I see. Interesting stuff. Let's flip to the more of what his wife said on Joy FM, because a number of things that came up. Yes.
He has quite a bit of pain. This is the wife speaking. We have to make sure his wounds don't get infected. I think that they are expecting that he will be much improved after a while when the wounds heal. Now, this is the part that dovetails into the period that is needed for that healing process to happen and the recovery being complete within the period of 3 months.
I see.
Yes.
This is Professor Angela Ofori-Atta,
wife of Ken Ofori-Atta.
Interesting detail in there. But then again, it also brings into perspective the position that the special prosecutor has taken with regards to that virtual option, because she speaks about it in this interview as well, is it not? That the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta has made it quite clear that they don't want him or his recovery to be the reason why this investigation will stall. And so the virtual option should be explored. I put this question to Samid Akon, who is head of strategy, communications, and research at the Office of Special Prosecutor. And he explains why, regardless of this detail, they still need Ken Ofori-Atta in person, physically. Take a look. Lawyer Samid Akon is joining us on the telephone, but it was trying to get him on Zoom, but we couldn't connect. As the United States
investigation will be aware. I would like to address a little confusion in the minds of, I think, lawyers in particular. You know, some lawyers are treating Mr. Ofori-Atta as if he's an accused person, which means that Mr. Ofori-Atta has been charged. He has been arrested and charged. So they will talk about why the OSP not taking advantage of mutual legal assistance program and go and do video conferencing, blah, blah. The OSP is aware of all these things, but these things are used when a person has been arrested, charged, and placed before a court. As we speak, Mr. Ofori-Atta has not been arrested by any law enforcement agency. So the suggestion that we could take Mr. Ofori-Atta via Zoom may not apply, because we cannot arrest a person through Zoom. We cannot take a caution statement from a suspect through Zoom, because the only time you can take a caution statement is when the person has been placed under arrest properly, so-called.
Right.
And let me also address the little issue about trial in absentia. If you study our constitution very well, Article 19.3 details how trial in absentia should happen. And the conditions are about two. It says that when a person, an accused, when we say an accused, it means that you have been arrested, charged, has a disruptive behavior, such that placing before the court will disrupt proceedings. Or if the person, having been charged, that is, the accused, being placed before court, elects not to come to court at all. So there's a popular case called Kwache, that is the Republic, which is like the case on it even ended at Court of Appeal. The whole idea is that the person must be tried in his presence, unless that person facing trial elects to say, I don't want to attend the trial, right? But we also do know that, so that's why it will even take international court. And it's the same principle across international court of human rights matters. If you take the ICC, for instance, why do you think that they issue arrest warrants for people and put them on Interpol, heads of state, former heads of state? Why? Because they could try them in absentia. So why don't they try them in absentia? But they still insist that they should have been arrested and brought. So if you say Slovakic, Milan Slovakic, one of the presidents, after he had been arrested and placed before the ICC, he then elected and said, I won't come to court again. Then they decided to try him in absentia.
Well, that's something that clearly explaining why, regardless of this detail and how things played out, that earlier interview I had with him when all of this was playing out, that the OSP and now we know other security agencies are also interested in Ken Ofori-Atta's physical presence. Well, there's some new information from Sammy Darko himself. He posted this on social media. What do we know?
Yes, so soon after the information came out regarding Ken Ofori-Atta's latest health status, Sammy Darko, Director of Strategy and Communications at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, posted this on his Facebook page. He says that you may choose to distort facts or shift the goalposts, but the truth remains, as of today, Mr. Ofori-Atta has not produced any certified medical report or flight risk assessment from his personal attending physicians or hospital indicating that he is incapacitated or unable to travel. He was given the opportunity to appear before law enforcement between February and June 2, 2025, but failed or refused to do so. Notably, he did not undergo any surgery on 21st or 22nd March 2025, despite a statement from his medical coordinator, widely circulated online, suggesting otherwise. Furthermore, has Mr. Ofori-Atta not traveled in and out of the UK or USA between March and 31st May 2025? He's asking.
That's the question he's asking.
If he is able to fly internationally, what prevented him from appearing before law enforcement?
Is that to suggest that the OSP has some information that Ken Ofori-Atta has flown between this period internationally, but not to Ghana?
That's what he suggests. And he gives a time frame between March and end of May 2025, asking if he has not traveled in and out of the UK and US.
This is a question that the OSP must obviously give us some detail to, Dennis, is it not? Because we don't have the capacity to answer this question.
Not at all. But this appears to be a rhetorical question, if
absolutely.
You ask me.
It begs for a lot of answers, but I appreciate you as always. Dennis Pobere, Wadam Esquire, stay with me. But Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner, has been following this quite closely. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Now we have some update to Ken Ofori-Atta's possible return. His wife says he's undergone the surgery successfully on Friday. All things being equal, if all things go well, as she put it, the recovery period is going to be 3 months, if all things go well. I mean, listening to this detail, how does all of this influence how this case is going to play out in the coming days?
It's still the same bad faith that has clouded this attempt by Ofori-Atta to get a further extension Okay, so the bad faith he exercised when he was seeking the postponement in February has caught up with him. So you see that now there is very little sympathy for his case. Let me explain further. So you know that around February 18th, yes, he was declared wanted on 12th, right? About, and then removed, I think, about 18 February. Now in the negotiations to remove him, Ofori-Atta's letter said that he was going to go through possible surgical procedure, a possible surgical procedure on 20th and 21st March, right? Now, it turned out that that particular one was a diagnostic biopsy. So it's a biopsy to check if there was cancer. So it's not this major surgery as it was made out to look like. So once he wasn't doing a major surgery, he needed to reach out to the OSP because remember, he was given a long time, relatively from February, he was given the adjournment to 2nd June. So he had the whole of March, the whole of April, the whole of May, 3 months, and he was to meet the OSP on the 2nd of June. All of this was because the sickness was made out to look far bigger, right? So if there wasn't going to be a major surgery on 20th and 21st March, he needed to have disclosed that to the OSP and seen how the OSP could make further arrangement. Maybe he could come down to Ghana to do the interviews before returning for his 13th June surgery, right? So, yes, the wife is saying he's gone through surgery successfully. Yes, I don't want to comment on that, but I'm saying that the steps, the bad faith, the Ofori-Atta, leading to his surgery is what will haunt him for a long time to come, because you had a diagnostic surgery, not a major surgery. Diagnosis, I mean, it's not any complex surgery, yet you took a long time. He, Ofori-Atta, when I say you, I mean he, Ofori-Atta, took 3 months in all, only to go through diagnostic surgery. So the wife's interview hasn't advanced his case much. I don't see how it advances the case. And you see, when it even came to the critical fact about what happened 20th, 21st March, etc., she said they always knew that before the diagnostic surgery, this biopsy, okay, that if it turned out that he had prostate cancer, they will require a major surgery later on. That they always knew there would be a major surgery after the biopsy on 20th, 21st March if it turned out that he had the cancer. So that is what they were supposed to disclose early. Then they would negotiate well with the OSP. But to have hidden it, they didn't say what exactly it was. The letter, please, if you have it, please put it up. The February letter, you say that they say possible surgical intervention. You see, when you put surgical intervention, everybody's mind is on a major surgery, not a biopsy. Not a biopsy, please. Not a biopsy. So, no, Ofori-Atta is lost us. The only saving grace he has, and that's not even, I think saving grace is not the right word in this context. Well, so let's just say that let's say that offer that they should interview him via a virtual interview is what seems to give a bit of credibility to his case. But that offer is not sufficient to undo that failure of a major disclosure to the OSP, that failure to disclose to the OSP what exactly was going to happen on 20th and 21st March. So it's not enough. In times past, I have said yes. I think the OSP should have taken that offer. They could have gotten the Americans to arrest. When we say arrest, not like arrest and bring him to Ghana. Arrest as a technical term. That's an officer will go there, touch him, and perform the procedures for arrest so that they could caution him. They say you are under arrest for using public office for private gain, as an example. Anything you say, blah, 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 will be taken down, blah, 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 and used in a court of law. All those things, read his rights and all those to him, just for the purpose of taking the statement. And then they will let him continue to be in America. So, yes, I said that Kisi Ejabe should have also taken that offer. But the fact that he didn't take that offer is not an excuse for what Ofori-Atta did. Failure to disclose what exactly he was going to do on 20th and 21st March, the way they said it was going to be possible surgery. And the surgery in this context, please, my emphasis is on the word context. In this context, it meant a major surgery, big one. That's how come he was given more time. No, Kisi Ejabe wouldn't have given him all this time if he knew it was going to be a biopsy where they were going to, yes, cut him a bit, even the surgical one, and take tissue. Nobody would take 3 months for such a relatively simple surgery. So really, the offer of the Zoom interview, etc., is not sufficient to undo the bad faith he exercised by not disclosing to the OSP exactly what would happen on 20th and 21st March.
Council, I do appreciate your thoughts on this. Quite a comprehensive review of the latest information regarding Kenneth Nana Ofori-Atta and his recovery, which his wife has just indicated may take more 3 months, at the least 3 months. So we'll keep an eye on how things play out. Martin Bibbles, private legal practitioner, thank you so much for your thoughts here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the national chair of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ayensun team, has taken a temporary break. That's not a big deal. But then again, there's something to it, which we're going to get into shortly. The family says that he's not in good health. There's more the family has been talking about, insinuating some political agenda to it. Now, we would get into, there are two letters that came through from the family. One dated the 9th of June, and then the other on the 16th of June, which is today. Now, those two letters paint two different pictures, but very consistent about the concerns of his health. We'll get into it after this quick break. Stay with us. This is Ghana Tonight. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Coming up next, as I indicated to you before the break, the family of Stephen Ayensu Ntim, the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, has requested his temporary withdrawal from all duties, citing deteriorating health and the need for urgent medical attention and rest. Now, the family has since written to the chairman of the Council of the NPP, the Council of Elders, in a letter dated the 16th of June 2025. Now, we're not going to focus this conversation on the health of Stephen Ntim. That's not what we're talking about. There's another issue that the family is pointing to in this said letter. Now, there are two letters which has been in circulation. There's a letter that's dated the 9th of June, and there's a letter that is dated today, 16th June. Let's backtrack to the 9th of June letter because it gives a certain context to what we saw today. This 9th of June letter says the family of the national chair of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ayensu Ntim, is concerned about the recent discussions in the media landscape concerning the general well-being of our relative. It goes on, the strength and wellness of every man rest in the hands of the Almighty. But let's fast forward to the third paragraph. So the family is aware that the New Patriotic Party is convening a National Executive Committee meeting as of that time within the week, which would be chaired by Mr. Ntim, even though the leadership of the party is aware of his recent health condition. Let it be on record that the family is not enthused about this move and will resist any attempt by the party to bundle Mr. Ntim to the said meeting. Take note of that. The family says, according to them, they have information that Mr. Ntim may be bundled to the said meeting. Ghanaians still have the fresh memories of the late president, Professor John Evans Mills, how it was handled and how it ended. And take note of the last paragraph. We are by this release sending a note of caution to all those who want to take advantage of Mr. Ntim's health condition for their selfish political gains, to desist from that and allow him to focus on his recovery. Then there was a 16th today, a letter that was also bearing the letterhead of the family. And let's put it on record. There were some phone numbers that were attached to this letter. We have called, my producer Dennis Baberi-Wadam has called two of those persons, and they identified themselves as the family head and relative of Stephen Ayensu Ntim. They confirmed the authenticity of this letter as we are reading it. It says, to begin with, let's skip, it says that we, the family members of Stephen Ayensu Ntim, national chair of the NPP, bring you warm greetings. To begin with, we can all attest to Mr. Stephen Ntim's lifetime commitment to talk about all what he's done for the party, and essentially saying they want him to be excused from attendance of this said meeting due to recent development on his health and well-being beginning from today, 16th June 2025. Reinforcing that information in the 9th June letter. It says it is well known that Mr. Ntim is not well at the moment and his condition requires time off from active professional activities in the interest of medical attention and monitoring for the time being. In compliance with his professional medical advice and in cognizance of his demanding office, the family members hereby request that Mr. Ntim be temporarily excused, not only from active office duties, but also from outright party politics until further notice. It is the resolution from the recent extended family meeting. Common sense dictates that Steve, as a matter of urgency, be temporarily excused, not only from the rigors of active politics, but from intra-party activities in order to make way for the needed peace and solace. And then they go on to talk about the said meeting again, that they want him be excused from the said meeting. Jonathan Asantiochi, Dr. Jonathan Asantiochi is a lecturer, senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. He is a political analyst. He's been reading these two letters that we're talking about as well. I mean, really, if it were, Dr. Asantiochi, if it was just about communicating his health, that's not a big deal, is it not? Then again, you read the further detail that the family gives in these two letters. How does it strike you? Is there any concern for you in there?
Well, it's quite interesting, and you see, the MPP party is in transition, so to speak, having been bruised brutally during the 2024 elections. They want to get their act together, but it appears that they will want to do anything that will inure to the benefit of the party or certain individuals within the party. For I do not really know exactly what they intend to discuss, for which reason you will want to bundle a party chairman that is incapacitated. Because if you look at the paragraph 3 of what the immediate family wrote, they are saying that as with any human, even merely participating in such event will not augur well for Steve due to his current cognitive dissonance and mental incapacitation. These are strong words that have medical implications. So what is actually the state of affairs in terms of the health condition of the national chairman of the MPP? And for what reason will the party still want to go on for that particular meeting scheduled for tomorrow, 17th of June? For which reason they will want the chairman to be there? So I think that there are more questions to be answered than what they have provided through these two, letters or press releases coming from, the extended and the immediate family. And so for me, probably the MPP General Secretary will have to clear the air on some of these issues that have found themselves in the public domain. And we want us to know exactly what they will want to happen, what they intend, for example, to happen during the meeting. We do not know the issues that have been shortlisted for the meeting, for which reason a chairman that is already known that has been incapacitated. If you go a little, further into not too distant history, when this, the Thank You tour began, in no time the chairman, left that particular tour. Some of us thought that because of the confusion and the nature of the national chairman, he wouldn't want to be part of the confusion galore that had riddled that of the MPP, so to speak. And so he wanted to take a back seat. Well, little did we know that the man was unwell. So once this has come into the public domain, I think that they will have to have a rethink in terms of who chairs their meetings going forward. Other than that, you see, they also made reference to what happened to the late Professor Mills, how he had to prove himself to all and sundry that he was well. He had to even jog at the tarmac. What happened? And that is what they said. The rest, they say, is history. And so they wouldn't want to jeopardize the life, of their son, their father, their nephew, who happens to be the chairman of the party. Of course, they also recount the contribution that he has made and his steadfastness when it comes to the party, commitment when it comes to party service, and so on and so forth. And so they will want to send such a stern warning to the party. And I guess that in itself is not a good omen. It's a bad publicity for the party. It is obviously going to affect whatever issue that they intend to discuss, for which reason they intended to bundle the chairman, according to the words of the family, to the meeting. And of course,
it's on that position of that expression they use, the family, saying that there's an intent to bundle him, even in his incapacitated case or situation, into the said meeting. I mean, from your own reading, and if what the family is saying is anything to go by, why would the party want this meeting done at all cost, and to the extent of the family's own words, Mr. Ntim being bundled, or the intent of him to be bundled to the said meeting in his current state?
Well, I do not really know, and I don't know if I should hazard any guess. Is it about future leadership of the party? Is it about, the corrupt dealings that have engulfed the party as far as the party in government is concerned? Is it about the health and the future of the party? Is it about, those jockeying for positions in terms of the future stranglehold of the party? I mean, you can hazard so many guesses. But until they come out to tell us exactly what will, cause them, as it were, in the words of the family, to bundle the old chairman to such a meeting, is quite strange. And the point is that what is at stake that you want to do that? So we can hazard so many guesses, but we may not be able to pinpoint exactly what could have necessitated that decision of the party. It is either they reschedule the meeting or they go ahead without the chairman because the family is not ready to allow their son, their nephew, their father to attend such a meeting because they are talking about mental dissonance and incapacitation. So if that is the case, then we are talking about a person who is nearly becoming a pumpkin. And they wouldn't want to take chances in the name of the party, and it may affect their health or lead to a deterioration of the health of the chairman. And so they can go ahead without him. But the point is, as you rightly asked, what at all, is the issue for which reason the chairman will have to sit in. And so I think that I'll just leave it there by saying that, well, these are some of the guesses that I've hazarded. And so I don't really know, what exactly would have motivated the current NEC, to take a decision that they will want the chairman to be part of.
Well, but let's put it on record as well that the party itself hasn't spoken in response to this. It is the family's words or in this said letter, which I'm reading and putting to you. As to whether there's going to be a response to this or not, officially or publicly from the party, we're yet to see that. But there's more of this on 3news.com. You can find the full complement of this letter as well on 3news.com. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Do have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.